Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and I'm going to try to keep this quick today, as Medieval Engineers has received its Tuesday update, and this one added a new game mode. Now, the basic idea behind this game mode is that one team is attempting to defend a fortress, the other team is attacking. I'll go ahead and set that up in a minute. I'm just going to go over the basics of that first. Now, the attacking team, long as they have a bed, they will be able to continue attacking endlessly up to 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, if they have not accomplished their objective, they lose, or if all their beds are destroyed and then they are killed, the attacking team loses. Now, what is their objective? Well, the attacking team must breach this castle, or any castle that somebody has put together, that has a king statue down in its basement, or anywhere in it, really, for that matter. This is the defender's main objective, is to defend that king statue. Now, the defenders have roughly 30 lives, which means if you are defending, do not just simply leap out of the fortress and attempt to destroy the attacking team's beds, because every time you die, the king statue will take damage. So do not get killed if you're a defender. Roughly after 30 deaths on the defending side, the king statue will be destroyed. So just keep in mind, you don't want to run out there. The defense castle here in the default map has a few ways to defend itself. Of course, it's got these trebuchets here, or not trebuchets, but really catapults, with the idea being that you should go ahead and lock them in place once you've got them targeted. So you can go ahead and click on these things using your left mouse click with the rope selected, because keep in mind also, you are going to be playing in survival mode. So you can go ahead and set these up, so it'll no longer turn. That way, once you get it aimed the correct way that you want, let's go ahead and press T on that to disengage that, you can lock them nice and quickly. Remember, on your hotbar down below, make sure you got your manipulation tool and your rope tool. They're going to come in handy here. You can find them under character tools right there. Moving on from that, you're also going to have a few spawn points around the base, so you will not simply just spawn at the king statue. Mind you, if all these spawn points are destroyed, you will spawn at the king statue as your very last spawn point, so your enemies can't just simply run into your base and destroy your spawn points. Also keep in mind that the enemies can go ahead and grab themselves a pickaxe and mine beneath your castle instead of going through the walls. Now, there is a block of stone beneath the king statue, so they won't simply be able to get to it, but they will be able to make their way down there, destroy that block, and then destroy the king statue itself. So keep in mind, you're going to want to keep an eye out for anybody attempting to mine their way through. The default fortress also has the main entrance right here. You'll notice that its way of sealing it up is simply to pull this up, if you're holding the right button that is, and it will seal the door in. Mind you, if they go ahead and break that rope, it'll fall down. You can of course break the wood. There's also another door right over here that you'll see that you can push through. The way to lock this door is to click there, and then there's a little one right there. You'll be able to click as well to seal those off. Remember, you're going to have to use your rope tool to seal all of that off. If you're defending, it's also wise to know that if you have your hammer out, you can go ahead and go up to walls, and you see now we can see what stuff is made out of, but it'll also give you an idea of how damaged something is. So if you suspect there's somebody around the edge of a wall, let's say under this, and you can't quite tell, you can of course go up and run up to the walls and get a health check on those walls to see if they're taking damage. Another thing to note before I move on to the attacking team is if you are a host, you can go ahead and press K and you'll still have all these options. So if you're host, you can change the time of day and also do the good old F3 and kick people. Let's go ahead and switch over to the attacking side right now. Now, to basically show you to the attacking side, now I need to go over how the map is set up. So, to do that, you'll go ahead and click New World, and you'll have the Castle Siege button right here at the bottom. Now, you can, of course, do Join World, go to the Game tab, and there might be some here that you could join. Please note you cannot join a game once it's actually started and people are fighting. So let's just go back and do the New World Castle Siege. You have your selection of maps here. They have to be built for Castle Siege. So I'll go over that in a minute. But the basic idea is we have a blank map here and we have the actual one with the castle. So we're going to go ahead and click the Add button right there. And we're going to go ahead and click OK. You can go to Browse Workshop and find other ones. At the time being, the max amount of players is 6. We're going to go ahead and set this to private right now because that allows me to load it up without anybody else joining the game. And you can see that the points value right there is determined by the castle basically. So you can see how many points that castle will allow the attacking team to have. What are those points used for? Those points are basically used for spawning in trebuchets and other things like that. You can, of course, if you are the host, go ahead and change the point value so your enemies can have more stuff. Or, of course, we can click the join button and become the actual leader of the attacking team. Please note, if there are multiple people in your game, you can click on their name and then click the leader button to transfer leadership to them. So we've gone ahead and set it up to 2,000 points right there. we're going to click that plan attack button right there. And we're going to go ahead and wait a second, and it'll load up all these official trebuchets. Now, if you have a blueprint you want to use in this game mode, it's not going to work right away, but to get it to work, all you got to do is basically publish it to the workshop again. Then people will be able to subscribe. Anything you've published in the past, just republish it, and it'll give it a points value. So we can click on all these, and unfortunately, it's not showing a points value right now, but we can go ahead and actually add them to the list on the right. So, a cargo cart and a cargo small cart, or cargo small. You're going to need one of these, absolutely. And you might say, okay, what, do we get all of our projectiles from there? Negative. Each catapult usually comes with its own projectiles in a small cargo container. They will run out, mind you. But you will need one of these, because each of these cargo things both have a bed on them. So I'm going to add both of them. In fact, I'm going to go through and add all of these. And you see, as I add them up, it does on the right show you a points value. And you might say, okay, we have every blueprint we still have left over. What's the point? Well, you can only use each one of these in this list once. So if you want an assortment of catapults, we're going to have to add a few more catapults to it. So there we go. We've added a few catapults. It actually reached the max where we can't add any more. And let's go ahead and add some random trebuchets as well. In fact, it looks like we've reached the max where we can't add anything more because you can only have 10 items in here, I believe, at the current time. Anyway, we got that. Once again, browse workshop button if you want to go ahead and find blueprints on that. There is a tag on the workshop now for actual maps built for this Castle Siege mode and for actual weapons and stuff built for Castle Siege. It's similar to the exploration update in Space Engineers. When you publish something, there will be a checkbox you can hit for that. Anyway, let's go ahead and actually just start this up. So you can click the Start Castle Siege button down there. Remember, usually you want to have more people on it, but because this map is set to private, it is going to be just me. Also, keep in mind, you can change the time limit up at the top. So if we want it to be, I don't know, 2 hours long, you can set it for that. Please, Lord, don't. Now, unless you have a really, really advanced map, you're almost sure to have lost by then, because that's the main hope for defenders to win, is that time limit. Okay, let's go ahead and start. There is a chat, by the way, at the base right here, so you can see a chat will work, and that actually carries over to the game. So let's start Castle Siege. And there we go, we're in. Now, if you are in a multiplayer map, you'll have a small screen in the middle of your screen telling you that you have about 2 minutes for everyone to load in. Once that ticks down, even if people are still loading, the match starts. At the top left, you'll see that we have blueprint spawn timing. If you are the leader of the attacking side, you need to be quick here. You go ahead and hit your F10 button and start spawning this stuff in. You might notice it's a little bit finicky to spawn stuff in. They might seem like this where they just go red. Press J on your keyboard to switch them over and spawn them in. Remember, try not to spawn them in too high off the ground. You'll notice small cargo small is the thing we have right there. We spawn that in and we hit F10. As I said before, you can only spawn in once of those. You can see it's gone from the list now, and you can go ahead and quickly spawn everything in. Remember, those two first things I spawned in were our respawn points. They do have wheels on them, so you can go ahead and spawn them elsewhere or spawn them in and just have someone push them about. You can rotate things as per usual as you do, but be cautious. A lot of things, when they hit the ground, will do that. So you got to be cautious when you place them. Try to place them as close to the ground as you can, but be cautious. Some things, if you place them into the ground, will, of course, cause trouble. There's an assortment of different tools, as you can see here, from everything I'm spawning in, from catapults all the way up to that large ladder thing I'd spawned in there. I'm just making sure we get all those in, and you can see we have a few seconds left to spare, about 13 seconds, and we have everything in. I'm going to go over here really quickly to the small spawning points, the cargo things, as I recalled. And you'll be able to see, if I can actually hop up on top of here, and it's not letting me really. There we go. There's actually a bed underneath this. If you're building a respawn point for one of these matches, try to keep in mind that some respawn points, when you use them, will try to spawn your character in a funky spot and instantly kill you, so you'll want to test it a few times before you publish it up on the Steam Workshop. As well, you can see that everything in here, just like in usual games, can be pushed around. Keep in mind, I am in survival mode, so I cannot fly. I'm pressing X, no dice. Also, you'll notice that at the bottom, they've set up your toolbar to have a few default items, from the sword to the manipulation tool to the tools, all this good stuff at the base there. And remember, if you're a host, you can go ahead and set the time so you can have yourself a nice nighttime battle. Doesn't seem to be going as dark as one would usually expect, but you could imagine having, there we go, now it looks like it's gone pretty dark. Yeah. So you can imagine yourself having some interesting nighttime battles. Also, please keep in mind that if you are a host, you can use spectator so you can actually watch these battles or cheat. Try not to do that. Also, this is our other spawn point. You can see the bed stuck right in there. Keep in mind also that if you have the manipulation tool, you can click with, or press T and it'll take out a rock from in there, and as long as you have the manipulation tool, you'll instantly be holding it, which is very useful for setting up some of these tools. It should also be noted that if we were to head over here to, I believe it was the trebuchet, you'll notice that it doesn't really work. It's got this big piece in front of it. That's because blueprints currently don't save ropes. They've done this, so you'll have to actually go ahead and click and attach. Oh, right, I gotta use the actual rope, and left click and left click. There we go. And attach that, and then you'll have to manually remove this little stopgap. Unfortunately, you have to do that because currently, as I said, ropes are not being saved as in the blueprint, so you'll have to set that up and then destroy that to be able to use your trebuchet. And then, of course, you'll be able to aim it, line it up however you like, and fire. Now you'll notice that this one doesn't actually have any ammo, but a lot of these other ones do have their own ammo supply, like this little catapult right here. You can see it's got a lot of chests. Simply pressing T on that, you'll notice it gets something out. Also, if you're a defender or even an attacker, if you get the high ground, you can hold these stones, and, well, I believe you're supposed to be able to press right click. Oh, come on, let me pick you up. Let me pick you up. There we go. Right click to throw it, and you'll be able to throw them at people. So that's really useful to defenders, and if you're offense, you can see that being useful as well. That's the basics of this game mode. So go ahead, get your groups together, go have some fun with that. I'm really quickly going to go ahead and switch back over to creative to show you how you set up one of these modes. And the best way to do that is actually to do new world. We're going to do custom world, and on the left here you can see we can scroll all the way down. We now have the CS base map and the CS map castle, and these are for the new castle siege mode. So you have the base map before they built the castle and the one after they did. We're going to go ahead and load up the base map in creative, and we're going to disable autosave, so go ahead and load that up. You can load up either of those and save them, of course, as your own, and then publish them to the workshop if you want other people to be able to use them. Please try to keep in the description something that'll actually tell people how many spawn points there are and where the king statue is. So here we go, we're in the world. We're instantly going to go into spectator and fly over here. You can see the castle, or the king statue, has already been placed. So this is basically the main thing the defenders will have to defend. We're also going to go into here and go to character tools. Now you'll notice two new things up here, the attacker starting point and the defender starting point. Now, the defender starting point, there can only be one. This is basically where the defenders will start at the beginning of the match. The attacker spawning point, there can be multiples of them. So you can see on this map, we actually have 3 of them placed around here. Now, you will have noticed that when I was at the other screen, there was a little pull down there that you could set the starter point for the attackers. So if you were planning a attacker's starting point, you can actually go ahead and give them a lot of different choices. So you can have dozens and dozens of them. Please note, it's probably ill-advised to do that because currently there doesn't appear to be much of a limit of attacker starting points, and these are not particularly easy to remove either. As you can see, I can put in dozens and dozens and dozens of them, and I can't just right-click to remove them. In fact, you would have to go up to them, press T on them while in creative mode, and you can see what slot they take up. You can switch that around if you like, and you have to actually click remove flag to remove them. So keep that in mind. Anyway, guys, I think that's everything for this update. It's a pretty damn cool thing, and it works surprisingly well. They did limit it to 3 versus 3 until their new netcode gets out, and then I believe they're going to up it. But for the time being, it is pretty damn awesome. Be wary of those bastards attempting to mine through your walls, and if you're on defense, try your best not to go ahead and run out there, as tempting as it seems to be to run out there and destroy an enemy bed. Your best bet is, unless you have a damn good setup to do that, you probably just want to try to survive for 30 minutes, and dear Lord God, good luck. If you're defending, I suspect you're in trouble. Anyways, that's it. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Ta-ta.